first new feature that we're going to be discussing here is the address. So addresses have existed in the software for a long period of time, ever since the beginning of the software. However, up until this point, you have not been able to see them, to see your list of existing addresses and know which ones are being used and how they connect to various events and people and places and whatnot. All that has been changed now, and addresses are now available just like any other record. They're under the records dropdown. Over here, you click on addresses. And like every record, you'll see the address search page and a list of all your possible addresses down beneath it, and the filters up top that you can use to filter out and hone in on specific addresses. You'll also see that if you click on an address, it'll open up to the view page, which just has the basic information about the address, just like any other record might. And of course, an edit allows you to edit details about the address. So I'm going to go to one of my more populated addresses to show you how it might look. Search for 123 Main. Search for that. And I find my address, 123 Main Street South. I'm going to click to open that one. You'll see on here that I have the address. I have the lat long because I placed a pin on it. And I've got my map right here along with some additional details that I can fill out. Press edit. I want to say maybe this address is in Zone 1. It's in maybe Minot County, and I can add some directions to it here as well if I'd like. Also from the edit page, you can change the pin. Maybe you want to zoom in a little bit and get a more specific pin. It's actually right there in this building. So that's what I'm going to do right there is update my pin. You will notice that if I'm editing an address, you don't have the ability to change the address itself, the streets and the state and the city. The lat long will update automatically with the map, but the street, city, and state are not going to be updatable with an edit. That's because it could affect all the existing records that utilize that address, and we wouldn't want to negatively affect any historical information about an address. However, we still will give you the ability to edit an address from the incident or the name record itself. So save and close that. All right, now that we're on the
back to the
address view page, you can see the changes that I made up here. We could also add an image if we'd like for this address. Add maybe you have a description of the outside of the place, or a picture of it, or a picture of some distinguishing feature from it, maybe the business facade, or it's somebody's house and you have a picture of that. You can add the picture up here, add an image, just like any other attachment. Below the address, you'll see that the involvements for are a little bit different than most records. We have places, people, and events. And each of these are unique in that you can see an entire card on them. So for example, for the business, you can see Bill's Liquor Store here. We can assume that is probably what this address is. You can see its address, of course, listed here, and then the business. You can click on the business if you'd like to open up the business record itself. Same with people. You can see his work is this address here. And then finally, events down below. Events will include anything from calls for service to incidents, traffic stops, arrests, and a number of other possibilities. And all of them will be in this section down below. Now, if you have an address that has a ton of things that happen at it, you're going to notice that all that you see down here are the 8 most recent events. So if you want to see any older events that happened at this address, you can see this all events section down beneath, and you can see a list of events, of incidents and calls for service, and then if you have any others, they'll be listed beneath this. And then you can see which ones happened in the last 7 days, last 30 days, 365 days, and all. For now, I'm going to look at the calls for service that happened in the last 365 days. If I click on that link right there, it's going to bring me to the call for service search page, and it's going to already fill out not only the one reported, but also these new fields of address, city, and state. So address and city and state are a couple fields that I want to point out because we've added them to a handful of different pages, names, businesses, and any various events. Again, calls to service, traffic stops, etc. And by utilizing these filters, you can find any results that happened at this address, and then of course in the when reported time. So with these two calls for service right here are the two that I found that happened in the last 365 days. I think that's pretty much all that I wanted to show about addresses. Under incidents, let me just add one real quick and just make sure that that you can see how it works. If I say, maybe there's a broken alarm that happened at this same exact address, 123 Main Street. So I'm going to click on this address. You can see, as always, it's automatically pinned. And I can save and close that. Once I get to my incidents, you can see that the address is now a link. I can click directly on this address link, and it'll open up the address record. I scroll down to the events. You can see that the new incident that I just added, broken alarm, is listed in the events. And of course, a link directly back to the incident if I'd like to click on that and go see it. I think that's all I have with the address module. There's a couple reporting features in it. Nothing too outlandish. You can get a list of the addresses by city, by state, that sort of thing. So if I do a bar chart, for example, by city, you can see just the number of different cities that my addresses are reporting from. That's all that I want to show about addresses. So up next, we have daily log updates.